I got one of these electronic cigarettes today. I've been going to therapy for a while. You know, nothing, you hear these horror stories about people and they're just dealing with abuse and trauma, and my story is not so traumatic. I just hang out with the wrong people, started doing the wrong things, messed up my brain a little bit. So, woohoo, electronic cigarettes. But check this out, this is cool. Yeah, it smokes and shit. And it lights up too. My therapist said this is supposed to help me with my oral fixation. I got some dark chocolate as well. It's my special treat. I haven't smoked in 6 hours, 24 minutes, and around 20 seconds. Not that I'm counting. Of course I'm not counting. I'm on a new path. Gonna get clean. She wants me to give up my sleeping pills too, but I told her it's too early for that. She takes away my cigarettes, my sleeping pills. It's just not gonna happen. She also is telling me that the Prozac I've been taking is probably not really something I need to be taking. She's trying to take away all my meds. I mean, I've been seeing her for a little over a year. I had some issues at work. And basically, my boss was nice and said, look, we won't fire you if you go see a shrink. So, I'm seeing a psychologist. Yeah. It's weird though, you know? You're like in there and you're talking about your problems, which really seems very egocentric, and they don't really, she doesn't, well, I mean, I can't say they, because this is my only experience so far, but Dr. Cheryl Oates, she doesn't really say much. She writes little stuff down on her pad of paper, looks at me, occasionally will say, and how did you feel about that? How did that make you feel? Like shit, Cheryl? Dr. Oates? You always feel like you're being given an exam, right? And you're supposed to have the right answer. Like, so you're like looking at them like, good, bad, bad. That's how I feel, doctor. Bad. Like, I mean, it'd be like if you kicked puppies. I don't kick puppies. That's not my problem. I definitely do not kick puppies. Occasionally I've thought about kicking puppies, but never actually did it. I have good impulse control. This is what Dr. Cheryl says. Good impulse control. So, like, that's part of the cigarettes, right? It's part of the ritual. I like the ritual of it. And it also means that I get out of work to go smoke. So, there's that too. But, I mean, you think, like, what do you want me to say? That I had some horribly traumatic childhood? My parents didn't pay a whole lot of attention to me. I was kind of a surprise later on in their life. They weren't expecting it. They had been living their lives without kids, and there I was. And, you know, big whoop. I mean, there's no abuse. They weren't overly enthusiastic parents, but there was no abuse. And you know, and she She's silent except for when she asks questions. And then it's like, so, have you ever been in a relationship? Well, yeah, I've been in a relationship. I'm not a fucking virgin. I mean, come on, Dr. Cheryl Oates. Like, what do you want me to say? She's like, well, would you like to be in a relationship right now? I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't really think about it all that much. I've got too much. I think about taking care of myself, and that's already causing most of my focus. So if I had to help take care of somebody else, I don't know. And people don't really seem to have time for each other anyway, right? So being in a relationship, I mean, who has time for that? She keeps looking at me, and I don't know what she wants me to say. I mean, I don't really know her. It's awkward. You go and, you know, she doesn't share anything about her life. I don't know. She has a wedding band. I'm assuming she's married. But for all I know, her husband's dead. She's a widow, and, you know, I don't know. I don't know anything about her, and it's just awkward. It's like, here, let me tell you about my life. And then there's no positive reinforcement. It's not like, oh, Sue, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. It's just like, oh, I see. And then, Sue, we might want to cut down on some of the meds, and cigarettes, probably not so good for your anxiety, and, you know. You know, I mean, what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to say? I'm lonely. I have thoughts sometimes about doing things that I don't know if other people would think about doing. My parents retired down to Florida, and I haven't seen them for 5 years, and they call maybe 4 times a year on the major holidays, including my birthday. What? So what? There's people with a lot worse problems than me, you know? And I think, am I supposed to feel better after going to therapy for a year? Because I don't know that I feel better. I think I feel more insane. Like, I never really questioned whether I was sane before or not, you know, or like whether my thoughts were normal. Okay, I mean, I did question that, but like I said, I have good impulse control, so it's never like I acted out on any of those thoughts. You know, like somebody's bending over when you're walking down the street. Don't you ever think about kicking them? I mean, I don't do it. I think about it. Their butt's just right there. It's asking to be kicked. Things like that, you know? But I don't bring that up in session because I think, oh, probably shouldn't mention that, right? Feels like a den of judgment. Just going in there, waiting to be judged. I think it's making me more anxious, actually. She says, I've got to get rid of my cigarettes, but I'm thinking, no, I think, Dr. Cheryl, what I need to get rid of is you, because I think you're making me more anxious. With your penetrating gaze and your pauses and your silence and your, oh, how did that make you feel? How do you think that fucking made me feel? Is there some kind of magic answer? But, you know, I have my dark chocolate and I have my electronic cigarette, so. And I still have my Prozac and my Ativan. So between all that, I suppose I really ain't got much to complain about. That's what it comes down to, right? You can piss and moan all you want, but really, I ain't got too much to complain about.